Welcome everyone. September 15, Monday. For plus 16, we took some quick trades. We have an appointment later on in the morning, so we can't stay for long. Remember, don't risk any money you can't afford to lose. Don't copy me. Do your own research. So today, we took 10 trades and we were up $16. Not a whole lot, but interesting enough. For the month, we're up $64. And look at the winning trade, 60% over 40%. So we made more money than we lost. That's a good thing. ATCH was moving as a penny stock, and it was up and down all the pre-market. And yeah, we got on pretty early at 4 a.m. And we're looking at it, and we decided to take a trade. Interestingly enough, HSDT, I believe, was the big winner. If you got on at 1 a.m. Pacific or 4 a.m. Eastern, that stock went from, I think when I looked at it, it was at $17. And then by the time 4 o'clock came around, it had gone all the way up to $51. And so I'm sure folks made some pretty good money on it. But for us, we have to stick to what's available, and Think or Swim won't let us trade till 4 a.m. So we're conservative with 200 shares, as it is a penny stock, not too bad. But this stock, I think, required a lot more timing than, and I couldn't just get it. I just couldn't get the timing right. If you notice, we also added another a new indicator in there called the wave trend oscillator. So we're trying it out. Yeah, I'm trying it out live without testing, but without back testing. But we'll wait and see if it helps. And we're a minute into the trade, and it's coming down. If you like our videos, like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. If you have questions, comments, leave them down below. Be happy to answer whatever you got, or if you've got suggestions, if you got advice that'll help us trade better, it's most certainly welcome. So it does a nice reclaim here, and we jump in with another 200 shares. That reinitializes our average trade price. Hopefully we average down, I think. But we still got a pretty high fill off of the beginning on this one. Early in the morning, even in pre-market, I was getting pretty high fills. Don't know what that's about. So our indicators are looking like it should. This stock should be moving up, and it should be at 90 cents already. But I think what happened is at that time, other stocks started to move up. We saw EVTV shortly, briefly in the gap up list. GPUs was also moving a little bit. Here, our trendy reversal begins to tell us that we're now for the downtrend. Well, we do notice that after that trade reversal goes on, usually it goes up a little more. So we decided to hold a little bit before we start selling. And sure enough, it climbs a little bit. And then we begin to scale out. And the trend reversal goes away. It says, hey, it's no longer reversing. But it also no longer moving up. So we're not going to take a chance. We don't want to start off our first trade with a bad losing trade. So we decided to get out. Lost $9. And then we start with ATCH again. And this time it's moving up a little more, 417, 418 now, AM Pacific. And it's looked like it's recouping itself. And then at this time, EVTV has settled down. GPUS has settled down. So we decided to jump in. And we reclaim. And we make a little bit of money. Remember, we were down $9, so we don't want to overstay our welcome. We wait for it to top, and we sell out, and that gives us a $2.73 win, which is great. Plus the $9 we recovered from the first trade that we lost. So CHEK is also moving up. It was one of the movers starting at 4 a.m. Eastern. This time it starts to move back up again. We weren't able to trade it before, so if you notice on the 5-minute there, you can see my red price line somewhere below 250, around 230, perhaps 220, and it moved up all the way to 442. So that was a good move, but we missed it. So here it begins to show a little bit of life. And our trade reversal says, well, from 327, it's bound to go up. So we decide to jump in. The MACDs, though, are not convincing. The Jurek MACD is open, but volume on the 5-minute, the oscillator tells us that it's going down. So we just decide to hold it a little bit as long as it isn't too much. And we're looking at the numbers in the bids on the active trader. They're pretty numerous, and they're almost equaling what the asks are. So that's one of the reasons why we hold this a little longer. It's now 5:21 a.m. Pacific. And we only went in with 5 shares, which isn't a whole lot. It was just like a starter position to see if this was going to pick up and see if we wanted to jump more in. But by this time, the MACDs are curling down, not like they're going to pick up. And at that time, also NAOV starts to hit scanners, making noise with news. And so we hang around here right above the 20 EMA. And we get ready to sell out because we know we're not going to make huge amount of money. So we lose about $1.90 and we're out. NAOV, as I said, was making noise. And around 5:26, which is 5 minutes beyond the last trade that we took, and you can see there my markings, and I'm looking at 1468 as the open line. So what I use that cyan line to refer to me is that if it goes above 1468, the stock will probably be stronger and move beyond that. This one has a very nice move from about 11 all the way to $13, $14 there, but we also missed it. So everything is about timing and about being there at the right time. And I'm still not convinced, but that it's that I should take an entry. But here, once it hits the 15, that cyan line, I decide to jump in. And as with all things, guerrilla trader, stubborn trader, of course it comes down. But it appears to still have good support. It's a higher price stock, so I think that smaller retail buyers are not going to jump in, and thus we see the smaller numbers. in the level 2. And here it looks like it needs to reclaim some liquidity. And we're going to hold it through this. We're not losing a whole lot of money yet. I think we're down like $1 something at this point on the day. So $10 is not as much. So we're just going to hold through it. And one of the things that I think, after you watch the video, if you watch it through the end and you watch all the trades, yeah, I miss getting in at the right time to make money. But the important thing is we managed our risk. We didn't lose great amounts of money. And in the trades that we took, we were careful to use our indicators to guide us, and not panic to the point where we uh, um, sell out and then wind up with all losing trades because we were afraid. So that's important. You have to have a little bit of a nerve to hang in there and not to hope, but to use the indicators. So here, there was a little pullback there, but it looks like a 5-minute 2-bar pullback. So, and the volume does continue to pick up. And the MACDs here are sort of flailing. They're going sideways, but they also look like they want to pick up because of volume. And that's why I stayed in. And you can see here, once it reclaims and it goes back up to 14, it looks like it's going to go up. So we decide to hold. Now it's a little bit early, but it is 5:30. And at this point, around 5:30, 5:45, I'm looking for one or more stocks to have to start leading the pack away, and for traders to start jumping in and make it the de facto a stock that everybody wants to trade. But that doesn't happen here. But it does move up. It's 15, and then at that point, we sort of think, well, you know what? Let's take a positive and let's just scale out. And it's a good thing we did. Right after that, I think it dumps down a little bit. So we come away with $3.90, and we move on to the next one. Excuse me. So we move on to ATCH again, and now it's moved up from the 86 cents to about 90. So we go ahead and jump in. And at this point, one of the interesting things is that there were a lot of sellers. I mean, a lot of sellers. I don't know if I recorded them on the video there, but at one point, I think there was 20 million shares being sold, which makes it very hard, which makes for a lot of resistance and difficult for a stock to move up. So this one, I think, was a bad trade. We got filled pretty high at 93, and then it becomes very difficult to recover. And we see a large amount of bids there on the level 2 and on the active trader, but the stock just doesn't pick up. Now it's 6:13. We're heading, we're about less than 20 minutes away from the open. And I think what happened here, FRGT starts to make noise, and folks probably, start moving towards that stock. And I think it didn't allow this one to pick up. So, and I didn't trade FRGT. I didn't really see it as a positive winner. And at the same time, LRE is also hitting the top of the scanners with volume. So managing risk here or losses isn't that great. So we're going to continue to watch and hold, and we're hoping that it's going to hit 92 or up. And later on in the day, the stock finally does go above $1. And we were right, so we traded like 600 shares. Had we held them for an hour, we could have made 10, 20 cents. But so here our new oscillator begins to shade the bar purple, which is telling us, you know what, probably this isn't going up. It's probably just going to go down. So at that point, we choose to get out. And we come away, and now we're down 311 on it. But RELI comes on and begins to show good movement. And this is a perfect example of grabbing something under timing. We didn't get this at 80 cents or at 90 or $1 or $1.10, but almost as soon as it hit the scanners, we were able to go take a look. And one of the things I was doing right there, the reason I didn't jump in was because I was looking at the daily on another screen to make sure that it was something that it had room. And so we jumped in, and we just a small position, 20 shares. And there's a nice battle here between the Bears and the Bulls. It sits between, and we got in a good fill right there. See, we got in at 130, and stock was at 147. And of course, $2 is nice, but we're looking for something more along double digits at least. We've been taking a few trades, and that's been dwindling our cash down. So we're hoping that we get a little bit more. Now, in retrospect, maybe selling up when we hit 320 would have been the move. But it kept moving up, so we decided to hold. And now, of course, RELI is just sitting back, losing. FRGT is moving down. At 618, we got less than 12, 15 minutes to the open. And so this stock appears to be, the chosen one at this time. And it recovers nicely. And we're thinking that if it's going to hit 150, but it's just a very thick wall of resistance up there. And we begin to think that it's just not going to go beyond that. We start to see the red volume bar there. And the MACDs begin to curl and look like they want to point down. And then at that point, you know what? We're just going to get out, come away with 60 cents for all our efforts. However, a few minutes later, 624, it's already moved up again, and it's past 150. And, in retrospect, maybe we should have stayed with our trade, but now that it is over the $0.50, we're a little bit more confident, so we jump in with 50 shares. And the only doubt I have here is the super trend is still red. The Zurich MACD down at the bottom has opened up a little bit and is not closing. And we start moving up. But the regular MACD is moving nicely, and so is our new wave trend oscillator, and volume starts coming in, and we hit 203 and we sell at the top. Excellent trade, $12 on that one. We go back to NAOV again, and it's a higher price stock. And that was one of the other issues, trading these higher price stocks. You trade 10 shares and it's, over $100. But we continue to watch it. And remember that cyan line was our target, and hoping that it would move up. And here we begin to see a good number of sellers. It is now 10 minutes to 7 Pacific. We jumped in with only 10 shares, and what happens? We get into a halt. So we decided to stay into a halt. And everything that we're looking at tells us that this stock should move up, but we're not sure if it's going to recover. And from the halt, the prediction is that it is going to stay flat. So we put in our stop loss, and we're saying, look, we're at 455. We're looking to lose no more than 355, and we get stopped out as it jumps all the way down, and we lose $1.75, which is okay. But it does reclaim, it does pick up. And we jump back in again, and we can only do 10 shares at a time. And now it finally moves up, and this was a nice reclaim move. False halt there. Starts to move up. And once again, we look for the top, and we scale out, $5.35. And then it continues to move, and it looks like it's going to go past the $15 range. So we go back in for a little bit more. Our trend reversal is purple at 1180. So we feel confident that it may not fall. I tried to get in a couple of times there, but you see took a while for me to get filled. Finally get filled at 1465. And we only take away a few more bucks. Everybody have a wonderful day. Happy trading for the week.